Yes, thank you. Nice to be here.
You haven't aged today. You look the same as you did 40 years ago.
You know, I'm telling you, every time I've seen you, one other time you said to me about 20 years ago, how is it that someone begins to look younger as they get older?
You're doing a good job, you know.
Thank you. My father was the same way.
Yeah. I'm witnessing my slow decline.
Oh, you look good. You look good. And Jeff, I'm sure you're still in that. Are you still playing volleyball or not really?
Yeah, except that, you know, the center's been closed for the last 7 months, but we'll get back into it when it opens.
You might have to gradually get back into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of gardening, so I'm getting some movement. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good.
Yeah. Hey, Diane and Terry, good to see you.
Alan Manukian.
Oh, Alan, yeah. And we got Hugh Flick and Jacima. Yeah, good to see you. And Peter from Florida. And Alan, are you there, or you just kind of hide behind that photograph? Oh, there he is. I wrote back to you. I wrote back to you that to your email.
Okay, yeah, I got to go check that.
There's a beautiful song. I want to. Do you think we could play it? Well, can you get Adrienne to play a song, or is that a little too much?
I can ask her. I'll be right back.
That one, Sing and Surrender, if she feels like playing it.
Yeah, I'll be right back. I'll see.
Yeah. His wife is really a superb singer.
Right.
She was a student of Cindy Lowe. That's how she heard of Baba.
Oh.
Taking guitar lessons.
Not singing. Hi, Jeff.
Yeah.
How are you?
Where are we coming from?
Diane.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah. Good to see you.
So we wanted to know that we feel very torn. On Tuesday nights, we're part of a weekly group that starts a half hour after yours. So if you ever see us bail, it's with a heavy heart.
Don't worry about that. You know, it's nice always to have you. I'm really glad you've joined in on these things, you know.
Well, we kind of have a Baba crush on you.
Yeah.
Smart.
Well,
very smart.
We all had great crushes on the Mandalay, you might say. They
were
very dear. And
so are you.
And Darwin was not a slouch either. He was great to be with. You know, we used to say even if Darwin just sat in, you know, at the discourse meeting and just read the North Myrtle Beach phone book, it would still be a very powerful experience because it was his presence too, not just what he said.
And Jeff, you were able to be with him, right? Did you live near each other?
Yeah, and then he up there in Schenectady, New York. That means upstate New York. And then
my dad's from.
Then he and Jean moved down to Myrtle Beach. So I spent a good bit of time with him.
What did you do in a previous lifetime before Myrtle Beach?
I was wandering around, wondering what the heck I was going to do with my life. Really?
He was also a student at Columbia in New York City.
Yeah.
That takes some time and energy.
No, that's where I heard of Baba, but I was not impressed with Columbia University because I was looking for something that couldn't be found in academia. I didn't know what I was looking for, but you know, it's funny. When I was in either junior high or high school, there were 4 things that I kind of knew about my life, and I didn't even believe in God, but or I didn't have any direct experience. But there were one was I would never have children. Wow. Even though I'm very close with kids, I would never have children. What I was looking for, I would find in New York City.
Wow.
I didn't even know what I was looking for, but that's what determined my going to Columbia. I was out in Tacoma, Washington, so I came all the way east. And I knew I had a very fortunate life, and I had no basis for it, but I knew I did. And as it turned out, it is infinitely better than I dreamed of. And that I would live to a ripe old age.
Wow.
I don't know how I knew these things, but
Oh, he knew this.
How nice. Well, my mother's 108.
oh my God, that's right.
Yeah, so you have plenty more to go.
I know I'm way behind.
She'd say, dear, you have 20 more
108.
wonderful years. 108.
I think we need to stand up and give her a standing ovation here.
Yeah, thank you. Her birthday,
108.
her birthday was November 8th.
Wow,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Mhm.
So we got Buffalo here. We got Martha Clancy and Oklahoma City, Dan Sparks. Mayor Prasad, Seattle. If he and Peter, one of the the Florida guys. Hey, Mayor Prasad. Hey, have you got your wife there? Or?
What?
Can't hear you, Alan. What?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, not, is it clear or not so clear?
It sounds pretty good. A little louder, maybe.
What about this?
Oh, good. Is she gonna play for us?
Does that sound good?
Not that we love you for her, but hey, Adrienne.
Yeah.
No, but I'm
Hey,
doing-
hey, can you sing and Surrender?
Yeah.
I'm trying to do
Okay.
it- I was
This
trying to
is
do
a very
sound test.
beautiful song.
Good.
I was trying to do a
I've been
sound-
hankering for it for a couple weeks.
I was trying to do a sound test.
And this is,
No.
we have to always work through Alan, to get to her.
Sorry, I've been
Is
so hard
Alan
to
also a
get.
musician?
You can sit there if you want.
No, I was just trying to do a sound test.
I hope you can't see our house. It's really messy.
It's all right. I just want to do a sound test.
Yeah.
So how does this sound? La. Is it,
Does that sound
Sounds
is
good.
it clear?
Yeah.
Sharp,
Okay.
sharp.
La. Is that better?
Yeah,
I'm
that's
better.
good.
I'm a better singer.
Okay.
La.
I think so.
Just kidding. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's the
Hey.
warm up.
This is a warm up. Okay. All right, I'll sing it. I think you can hear me like if I do it like this. Okay. Hi, Jeff.
Yeah, hey, good.
Hi,
Beautiful.
everyone.
Hi.
This is kind of an intimate effort and grace meeting.
Yeah, we moved right into music. Yeah.
All right.
We
Effort
do
and grace.
effort and grace.
Effort and grace. Sing and surrender.
Yep.
Sing for the forest. Sing for the sky. Sing for all the moments that are passing you by. Sing for all the moments that are passing you by. Sing for the animals. Sing for your friends. Sing for the beginnings and sing for the ends. Sing for the beginnings and sing for the ends. All of our days are endlessly numbered as the clock runs, time stands still. Tomorrow's never promised to anyone, and the empty stage of life is yours to fill. So sing, sing. Sing for your happiness, sing for your sorrow. Sing because you can. Sing because it's good. Sing for all the people in the world who wish they could. Sing for all the people in the world who wish they could. All of our days are endlessly numbered. As the clock runs, time stands still. Tomorrow's never promised to anyone, and the empty stage of life is yours to fill. Ooh. So sing. Sing, oh, sing for your healing, sing for your soul, sing for your brokenness, sing until you're whole. Sing for your brokenness, sing until you're whole. Sing for your homeland. Oh, I already said it. I messed up. Sing because it's right. Baba! Sing your warmth into the cold dark night. Sing your warmth into the cold dark night. All of our days are endlessly numbered. As the clock runs, time stands still. Tomorrow's never promised, no, not to anyone. Oh, and the empty stage of life is yours to fill. I said the empty stage of life is yours to fill. So sing. Oh, sing. Sing, oh,
Beautiful.
Hey,
Beautiful.
Baba.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Hey, can you do that? I'm blue, I'm blue, I'm blue.
Again, you want me to do that too?
We don't get you very often. So this one, I'm blue, I'm blue, I'm blue. It's a beautiful song.
I want to sing that. I need to. I haven't played it, and I need to find the lyrics for that too. I just need a refresher. It's just.
We can wait. We got all day, honey.
We got time.
All right. I'll be back. I'll just go print it up and review it, and then I'll play it for you.
Good.
This is
Thank
like,
you. Very touching.
An
Like
added
a-
extra gift.
like the genie gave us wishes for Sunday afternoon.
The Baba Genie. That's so good. Me too. I was like, I need to play for Baba lovers more.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be back.
Good. You can let Alan kind of substitute in for you. Hey, Marinaz. Marinaz is showing up. And Prakash, I hope Prakash you've recovered from that accident.
He's
Hey,
in
Baba.
Hyderabad.
What's
Yeah,
that?
I did. I did, Jeff. I mean, getting better, getting there.
Good.
Thank you.
Good.
He's in Hyderabad, where it must be what, 3 a.m.
It's actually 3:50. Yeah, in the morning.
Oh,
Quite
Now,
early.
there's determination.
Wow.
We got Larry Pesta back on the roster, batting
80
cleanup.
84 degrees here today in Phoenix. We are loving it.
What?
Yeah. And Melanie, how is Kent doing?
Kent is doing fine. She's very busy with a nonprofit that she started, which is called Women. It's called Women Forward International. And she funds graduate student efforts, places like Harvard and Stanford and Columbia and Georgetown and Berkeley maybe, that are doing big projects related to women moving forward. Like, so anyway, she's doing fine. I haven't seen much of her though because she's very careful about COVID.
Yeah. Well, you know, Baba in the 30s said that he wanted to elevate the status of women in the world, and
Yeah.
that whole women on the Hill was part of that whole thing. And but I certainly hope we get a little more feminine in this world.
Well, it's all, yeah.
Anthony Cortez is here.
Jeff, Angela, Effort and Grace crew, good to see you guys.
Yeah, good. Kellyanne is here. Just like Kent, your daughter, Kellyanne grew up coming to the center when she was young.
Yeah.
And
hey,
Hi, Kellyanne. I haven't seen you in a long time.
I know. You guys have been going at this Effort and Grace. I just came back to it.
It looks like you're at the boathouse. You're so lucky.
Yeah. And the nice thing about this is each session is almost completely, you can drop in at any time. You don't necessarily have to jump in and worry about having missed any, because everything is kind of, they're just facets of the one diamond. And we got Connie from, I think, Portland. Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, good. And Marcia Maltz from outside of Chicago. Yeah, and Ray we got from Florida.
Dan Sparks, who looks like he's already wearing a mask.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm growing.
Jeff, how did you guys do over there with the storm?
That is the mask.
Yeah.
Hey, Robin. Yeah, good. And Marge and Jack.
Hi. A launch is about to go up in 2 hours.
Oh, yeah. Wow. You're right nearby.
Yep, 20 minutes.
Will you be able to hear it?
Yeah, yes, and feel it.
Oh, wow.
Good.
Where's it going?
To the
space station with 4 astronauts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we got Elizabeth also from DC area, Silver Springs.
Silver Spring, please.
Silver Spring.
I'm going to be getting dinner, but I'm going to be listening. So.
Yeah, good.
Good
Is
to
that
see everybody.
Ryan? I can't see it. I see the top of a forehead.
Hi, Melanie.
Yeah, there's Ryan. Yeah.
Okay, I think I've got it.
Oh, good.
I'll just preface this by saying I wrote all these songs kind of back to back, and I was playing them all the time and teaching them to my students, and then I haven't played them for like a couple, like since the last time, since Jeff. So this song is really, really great. I think this is one of the greatest songs I've ever written, but I might mess it up. And I think it's good enough to withstand my mistakes. So
Good.
hopefully Baba comes and helps out, and hopefully you
Beautiful.
like it as much as I do.
Yeah.
It's all so subjective, you know, music. Okay. And it's all about how we're all in it together. Was it okay before where I had the damper on the piano and you could hear it both okay? All right.
Yeah, the piano's a little bit, well, no, it might be my computer, but does it sound good for the rest of you?
There's a bit of a rattle, but I'm not sure if that's a computer or if it's the...
It's probably like a rattle when I play.
Not
Yeah.
now, but you had
Have you
it.
got have you turned on original sound?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Duh. No. I don't know. I'm sure it's just like this. Uh-oh.
From there. You have to keep it like that.
Well, this isn't very strong.
I'll keep it. Try it now.
Sorry. This is not working.
Oh, jeez.
There's Heidi.
Okay, we'll just play. We'll just do this. Are you gonna stand there the whole time?
I'm just seeing if is the rattle still there?
They're saying it's okay.
The sound that you're gonna get, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
I woke up this morning and I had to pray, feeling the weight of the ache of the world heavy on me. I wish I was smiling and feeling the sun on my face, but it seems like now it isn't the time or the place. But I keep on hoping and trying to hold on to you. I'll keep on reaching, even when I'm this blue. Bluer than bluer than bluer than bluer than blue. Bluer than bluer than bluer than bluer than blue. Bluer than bluer than bluer than bluer than blue. I still reach for you when I'm bluer than bluer than bluer than blue. Maybe your heart is held captive by so many ancient fears. It feels like you're drowning and you're all alone in a sea of tears. But I'm right there with you. Just look out and you'll see. Go and take my hand, and together we can get free. Oh, I keep on hoping and trying to hold on to you. I keep on reaching, even when you're this blue. Bluer than bluer than bluer than bluer than blue. Bluer than bluer than bluer than bluer than blue. Bluer than bluer than bluer than bluer than blue. I still reach for you when I'm bluer than blue, bluer than blue. Oh, the path of life is long. It stretches far beyond our eyes could ever reach. And I've been lost so many times and isolated myself, thinking I was free. But everybody needs a friend out in the wilds of this great mystery. Yeah, you know that I need you.
Thank you, Adrienne.
Thank you. Thanks, y'all. Thank
Beautiful.
you. Thanks,
Lovely,
Jeff.
lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you. We managed to corral her. Thank you.
Wasn't easy.
That's a beautiful way to start out. Now you can go back and do whatever you have to do.
Or you can stay with us.
Or you can stay with us, whatever. Anyway,
How do you spell corral? Do we know how to spell that?
There's an okay in front of it. That's all I know.
okay.
Baba,
Well,
please corral me. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Adrienne.
Thank you. It was beautiful.
Awesome. It was great.
Now, I want to have a few moments of silence. Should we go for it?
Absorb that song.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
So, welcome. I I can check to see if there's any new people, but most of you know how this all proceeds. And Angela will look for some unsuspecting readers and choose, and you can read or you can pass. And then feel free to share, anything that it brings up in you in reading Darwin's material. So a lot of the things that Darwin wrote about, sometimes it's helped when there's some examples, so, and so one of the quotes that Darwin liked, this book starts out with effort, and hopefully as time goes on, the grace starts to come in more and more. And there was a quote that I gave to Darwin, which he liked, from Rumi, where he says, on the spiritual path, effort is required, but grace is 1,000 times greater than effort. When the morning sun appears, the candle of self-effort can be blown out. I once asked Darwin, what is the biggest mistake the Baba people are making? And he said, they think of themselves as small and they remain small. Think outside of even the traditional spiritual box, he would say. We are much greater than we give ourselves credit for. In fact, Baba himself says that the whole universe is inside of us. And not only the whole universe, but Baba's inside of us. And you know how big he is. He's big. So Darwin was kind of encouraging people to move from the small conception of yourself into the larger experience, more expansive experience of yourself. More our universal side rather than our little local particular size. And Mani said, this is avataric season where the fruits are just hanging from the trees and have fallen on the ground. Go pick them up. It won't always be like this. Just go and grab all you can. And this is what she says. It is this is Mani Baba's sister. It is our limitedness, our littleness, which prevents us from carrying away more of the fruit. Kabir says that such a season is there for the looting. The bounty of his name, take it, loot it, don't hesitate. Don't look the other way, loot all that you can. So we have permission. We, unworthiness is Darwin was not big on unworthiness. Just go in, put your begging bowl out there to Baba. So anyway, that's something that occurred to me. Now, what page are we on?
Page 9. So at the end of last session, we read Healthy Suffering, and there wasn't a lot of time for discussion. Do we want to reread that, or do we want to just go on?
I think we should do it. We did kind of read that fast. Let's go. Let's have a little more Healthy Suffering.
A little more Healthy Suffering it is.
Yeah.
Page 9. That is page 5 of the PDF. Section called Healthy Suffering. Stuart, you care to read?
Sure, thank you. Mayor Baba does not put pressure on people to grow. He lets them grow at their own speed. However, I feel that Baba permits disillusionment as a part of the growth experience because it leads to detachment without our becoming callous or unfeeling. So we have growing pains which lead to disenchantment, and this will involve a certain amount of healthy suffering. Initially, we are going along, not contesting the flow of sanskaric determination within us. The more we begin to contest this flow with our thoughts, feelings, and actions, the more we may experience a struggle. We are striking out for truth, taking our stand on the truth within. My experiences with Baba have helped me understand and become so familiar with impelling forces such as anger, lust, and greed, that when confronted with them, I would find the antidote, which would vary for each person, appearing within my consciousness, and I could switch gears and transform them right away. We do not want to wait until these forces arise and become so impelling that we're helpless to control them. We need to plan ahead. Before these forces take hold of us and overpower us, we need to think them through to their end results and decide for ourselves that this is not the way we want to go. We have to consider ways to counteract these impelling forces. Redirecting them into less binding channels is one way. As spiritual aspirants, we also have to keep a sense of Baba's presence with us in these situations. My secret strategy is to become aware of Baba himself, his presence in all circumstances. He's the master of every situation.
So any comments, any remarks, any questions? And don't be shy. A lot of Baba people aren't shy, but there are others who are.
Kathy, go ahead. Try that again.
There we go. Oh, I said, hi. Anyway, my technology is no better than it used to be, Angela. Anyway, I find this perfect because I've been finding myself heading back down the rabbit hole of what's going on in the world. And tonight I was talking to a friend of mine and I was like, I don't want to do this. I'm not putting attention where it belongs, you know, and it's like, and I said God because they don't, Baba will turn them off. So I just said, God's in everything. And so if I put my attention there, I'm not going to get caught. Anyway, I get in trying to explain to this person that I didn't want to go where the conversation was headed and approach it more from a spiritual point of view. It was like all of a sudden it's like, that's what I need to do. And now, you know, we're reading it. And so it's like, I'm not going to say I have it figured out and that I could do it perfectly, but I'm really, really happy to hear this read over again because it fits perfect with the conversation I had like 10 minutes ago before I was on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Darwin used to call that divine order when things kind of sink in beautifully.
Yeah.
Any other hands? Anyone else to share?
Peter.
Alrighty. What is baffling to me right now is seeing the second sentence, which well, I'll start with the first. Mayor Baba does not put pressure on people to grow. He lets them grow at their own pace. Then it says, however, I feel that Baba permits disillusionment as a part of the growth experience because it leads to detachment without our becoming callous or unfeeling. And in my experience, when I wanted to change, I researched what it is that I wanted to change. Like, let's just say, any number of bad habits. And it understandably left me callous. It understandably left me jaded. But can someone give experience? I mean, this may be common sense, but I don't understand what it means by permits disillusionment as a part of the growth experience. Can someone give examples as far as what that looks like? I mean, concrete examples. Pass.
We got anybody? A good question. I thought that question would get asked.
Kellyanne, just letting you know there's a digital way to raise hand. It's Alt-Y on a PC, Option-Y on a Mac, and if you're on a phone, it's under the three dots or tablet. I see that you're unmuted. You had something to say?
Oh, but that was a good thing to know because I thought it was maybe just the reaction hand, but I don't really have anything to say. I mean, I guess being new to some of this in a group, the thing that strikes me is that it's nice that everybody has a different way and that Darwin Shaw gave real leeway in his writing to show that everybody's way is different. So I can think to myself that my disillusionment that I've experienced and the suffering that I've experienced has kind of almost built up a resistance. It's almost like, it's like if you've gone through something once or twice, you kind of know how to go through it again. So it's when he talks about creating some strategies, for me, those strategies look really different than other people's strategies. But I can definitely relate to a lessening of fear of going through suffering as I've gone through things and been able to rely more on inner strength and Baba. So there's a lessened, and there's like the suffering is less because the fear of going through it is lessened, if that makes sense.
Beautiful. Yeah, so true. Yeah.
And Stuart?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm finding in here maybe a not very subtle implication of welcoming the suffering and the disillusionment. And I've talked about this very gifted experience I had in high school where God made himself very known to me and took me on a remarkable journey. A big part of that was shining light on gradually these limitations in me, and they might be judgments. And I'm just thinking, Peter, trying to answer you there. One of the things that happened was that he'd shine light on, say, something I'd said that I had no idea that it carried some hurt for somebody else. I mean, to me, it was so subtle, I didn't even realize it, but God shone the light on it. And then I could feel that and see it. And then it made me, if not vow, deeply not want to do that anymore. And it made me more and more aware of really just trying to say positive things to people or not say anything if I wasn't sure about what I might say. And that was an incredible gift of enlightenment within, and then being able to apply it.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, we've got some more examples probably coming along here.
Anthony?
Hi, Peter. What was coming to me when you were talking about what an example of disillusionment might be, what was sticking out was a couple times in my life when I found security in a certain place or a certain group or way of being. For instance, the first girl I was with for many years, and I thought we were going to end up getting married, and then you've got a whole group of friends and a whole, circle that goes along with that, and then all of a sudden that ends, and you're left, what I feel almost disillusioned because you thought reality was stable in this certain way of being, and then it's like poof, overnight it's all gone, and you're stranded, and you don't know exactly who you are, in your life anymore. And I've had that happen several times, fairly dramatically. And, and it's like after these certain chapters in my life have just came and went, it's just produced this tremendous disillusionment of, what is stable? All of a sudden you have this job and this identity, and then that's gone. And then, you're doing this, and this is your partner and your friends, and then that's all gone. So I know that helped wake me up to spiritual life and Baba quite a bit, because you're trying to find something you can hold on to as you get disillusioned, that the rest is, I guess what Jesus said, building your house on sand, that it's just none of it is stable, and you just become increasingly disillusioned that you'll never find security in anything other than God and the Spirit. So that's what came to me. Thank you, Jay Baba.
Yeah, good, Anthony. Wonderful.
Yeah. And Robin?
Yeah, the grinding of the suffering. I sort of hate where he says that we do not want to wait until these forces arise and become so impelling that we're helpless to control them. And that's where I was all night last night, unable to control them totally, and just feeling devastated and hopeless and angry with God, and all this effort stuff goes right out the effing window. And it's like, I just feel so hopeless that even on this spiritual journey, and who am I kidding? And, you know, and then I get so mad at myself for being caught up in all that. It's just illusion, it's Maya. And I get that sometimes, but I say this a lot, I guess, but it feels like the only way to get anywhere is to have to go through all of that. Like most of the time I feel like I know what to do kind of, you know, and I can keep my balance and I can remember that it's all illusion and, you know, feel Baba doing it all and within me and all that stuff. And then to completely lose all that and just be so attached and not wanting things to be the way they are, not wanting to be the way I am, not wanting to disappoint, you know, the whole Baba, but the whole journey. And I hate to say any of this because everybody feels like they're so on this journey in this group. And it's like, oh God, you know, but it just, I guess, have to go around this block again and again until it gets ground away. And none of the things that I feel like I can hold on to be on track are there to hold on to. And that's what disillusionment feels like to me. And I know it's a great thing. Like, yeah, grind it all away so that I can, you know, be on the right track. But there isn't even a track, you know, like I think we have to just let go of everything and be free flowing, free falling. But while I'm going through the grinding, all that's gone, as it should be. And I can appreciate that at some level, but it really feels horrible. So that's all I got.
We've been there, Robin.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And Peter.
You know, as I was reading this and listening, and I'm just tuning in on one thing that Anthony said, I'm seeing that I misunderstood when it says, I feel that Baba permits disillusionment, when I'm realizing there's illusionment and then disillusionment. And, you know, I remember going to the Southeast Gathering years ago and coming back home, and there was a man that said, what was it? We know, no, now I lost it, hold on. We know when we see, the more we see life as an illusion, the more we know we're loving God. And I remember reading in a book that I'll leave nameless right now, that gave a collection of books to show the illusion in industries. And I remember going through them one by one, as many as I could, showing that the illusions of the food industry, this industry, that industry. And it started leaving me very jaded, which is understandable. And so how do we do this without being callous or unfeeling? Another part to this that I'm just putting together in the last maybe year and couple weeks is when I look at Meher Baba, I remember a silent message that came to me when I looked at him in my mind's eye 20 years ago. Part of what he said to me is, I'm God and I love you infinitely more than you love yourself. And if you mess with me, if you challenge me, if you question me, I'll make your life pain, or I'll make you pay. So to me, although this is probably exceeding unpopular, the truth for me is, I do spend time with Meher Baba, giving him whatever, giving it up to him. But I realize, why did it take me so long to awaken? And that's because if people thought that a dictator or Hitler was their priest to confess to, who the hell would go? Seriously, if I thought God was a dictator, why would I go and give anything to him? And that's been a major challenge. So I still say, how does anyone become disillusioned without being callous? I don't get it. And I'll just hold on, I'm trying to think if I can follow that with anything meaningful up. Yeah, I feel that Baba permits disillusionment as part of the growth experience because it leads to detachment without being callous or unfeeling. I don't know, when I look at all the attachments that I've had, how I've relied on them and how they've been habit, whenever I look at a new way of eating, I see, oh, I can't have that. In order to be healthy, I need to choose not to have that. I need to choose to not have that. What does it leave me with? An unhappy camper. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Wow.
And Ryan? You were unmuted. There you go.
Sorry. Yeah, I was looking at that same sentence. It's interesting to me that he uses the term Baba permits disillusionment as if it wouldn't be there otherwise, or wouldn't be part of the growth experience otherwise. You know, most improvements or most new ideas come from confusion, and confusion usually comes out of disillusionment of what they thought was being true up to that point. In my experience, the disillusionment is definitely part of my path with Baba in terms of trying to figure out, you know, some of the paradoxes that were Baba, and some of the changes that he went through, but also that he put his Mandali through, and the rest of us through, I guess, for that matter. And then the second part of it, it leads to detachment without becoming callous or unfeeling. Yes, when I get disillusioned with what I think is true, I do become detached from what I think is true. But callous or unfeeling doesn't seem to come into that for me. You know, I care about what I think is true and why I might not be thinking that at this point, and why I'm disillusioned. That you know, it bothers me. Certainly our growing pains, and I certainly hope that you know, I believe that's the healthy suffering that he's talking about in this sentence or this paragraph.
Yeah, no, I think it definitely, I mean, often leads to empathy, you know, a little more compassion.
Yeah.
As you've come up against a brick wall in yourself. Yeah, there's still more. There's still you more.
Yes, is that my turn?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm reading from Much Silence, but before that, just a little thought on healthy suffering. I just at a personal level, I felt the suffering that possibly takes me closer to Baba, I term it as healthy suffering, and the suffering where the ego comes into victimhood, I term it as unhealthy suffering. So,
right.
Just with my little experience, the way I felt to best coin it so that I can distinguish between a suffering where Baba is holding me and the earlier suffering which I was creating myself, in the aspect when we say that pain is inevitable, suffering is a choice.
Good.
And
beautiful.
Sorry.
No, that was good. Excellent.
So I'm reading this from Much Silence now. We can see all this in the outside world, but it is also possible if one makes the effort to detach oneself and listen intently to one's own pattern of thoughts, actually to hear the ego speaking. In most of us, indeed, it keeps up a continuous monologue based on the idea of I and mine and centering round the themes of I want, I mean to have, and in a few years' time when I've got this or that. Often the tone of this monologue is aggressive, for most egos are touchy and quick to take offense. In quotes, I'll soon put a stop to that. They'd better mind their step. She can't go on treating me like this. At other times or in other persons, the voice of the ego is feeble and self-pitying. I've really had as much as I can take. I don't know why things like this happen always to me. I just don't see how I'm going to cope. Or else, faced with disappointment and frustration, the ego takes off into boastful fantasies and daydreams. In these, it asserts its superiority and is acclaimed by humiliated rivals, so consoling itself by the withdrawal from reality for its own inner emptiness. Every thought, emotion, action, which springs from the idea of exclusive separative existence, is a manifestation of the ego. All feelings like I'm someone of such and such type, someone different and special, and that my house, my car, my clothes are different from other people's, all emotions tending to exclude or reject others, hatred, resentment, fear, greed, jealousy, contempt, fortify and feed the ego. Under its domination, we all do actions of which we afterwards say, I just don't understand how it can have happened, or I don't know what came over me, as though the action concerned were not our own, but the result of some outside person or force which had assumed control. Meantime, through the sense of separation which these negative emotions stir up and maintain, and through the words and acts which are the consequences of our allowing them to be stirred up and maintained, there has occurred a narrowing down of the radius of our own life, so that in excluding others, it is ourselves who experience exclusion, and the man or woman who tries to concentrate entirely on my own life ends up having little or no life to concentrate upon. The result of being governed by the ego is to make each man or woman a prisoner of his or her own self-interest, like the prince in the fairy story who was locked up inside a tree. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Yep. That's very nice description of the ego. Wow. We're not even getting into the next section here.
Alan?
Hello. Let's see if I can get. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I was really appreciating Robin's share, and it's definitely something that lately I've been experiencing, this callousness and overwhelm. You could say overwhelm, and I think that there was a moment for a while there that I just didn't want to talk to Baba, and I didn't want to turn to Baba even inwardly. I didn't want to connect with Baba with other people, and I didn't feel like, I just felt like really I can hear it, I've heard it over the years, intellectually, of course, and I felt like I really did understand that, like, there was a part of me that was just, that was upset about things or would react to people, was that victim part of myself. And intellectually, it's very easy for me to read and to comprehend with my, with my thoughts. I'm like, okay, I get it. But then these things happen, some things happen to you. And you do have feelings and emotions and sensations that sometimes are overwhelming. And I'm feeling, I feel that pretty often nowadays. I feel that now. But I think that part that got me, the word that got me, was disenchantment. And I always remember when I hear that word, I think of Padre, because he would talk about being enchanted by the music that was being played when he first came and saw Baba, But that enchantment. I feel like I get enchanted by, like getting upset or getting in, lust or greed or just triggered or like reactive, and I really want to do that most of the time. And I'd like to stay doing that habitual pattern. But I feel like what Baba is helping me and feel or experience is spaciousness where I can, there's the don't worry, be happy part, but it's also for me, it's like, don't worry and worry, don't worry and be upset, and have your feelings, have your thoughts, have whatever it is, but also that's like, who is the I that is experiencing that? I am upset. I hate this. I don't like the way they said that to me. For me, it's a lot of self-righteousness. How dare they talk to me like that? Or I'm sharing something vulnerable and you're being cutting, that's not fair. I just have a lot of that. But again, the more that I am in touch with that, and it's like a wounded elbow that it's touching against a hot stove or something, Baba's like, who is it that's experiencing this? Who? Is it you? Who's you? Who are you? Who am I? And it's just kind of over and over again, this small little drip onto, my little ego. And I feel like in that way, it's disenchanting me from wanting to be reactive and more surrender, because I can't necessarily stop the waves. The waves are way too intense and way too overwhelming. And I do overreact. I do still do all the things. And it's also accepting that is part of where I'm at, and I can intellectually understand the victim part, but also, yeah, I play the role and I'm not done learning some things. And I feel like that's okay. I feel like it's okay for anybody and everyone. But yeah, this part of disenchantment from like really enjoying the rage or enjoying this victimhood I feel like that's what Baba's working on for me. And it's helping me be less callous, because I usually in the past would just close up and stay closed, stay callous, and, be pretty harsh. I don't know. I'm just trying to get the thoughts out, but I hope that makes some sense.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no,
Baba.
beautiful. Yeah, one thing that occurs to me is that luckily we have this thing in us built in that we want to be free. We want to live more expansively. So while we're kind of getting pent up with all of these things, there's another part that wants to get out in the countryside, into open fields. And that's always present, luckily. So, but yeah, there are more hands here.
Stuart?
So the last 15, 20 years, there's been a lot of destruction and things definitely not playing out as I thought in my life. And I felt I had this certain destiny with Baba in the world, and that was very comforting and something to hold on to. And there keep being these near misses of something really happening with it, and this was like deep in my heart. And instead, wonderful, unexpected things have happened with Baba and inside and in the world for me, but definitely not what I thought was playing out at all. But another huge blessing out of it is that I feel a deeper empathy and compassion, and that I'm not beyond anything. And there's something that really takes me deep in my heart with that. And I feel like it's kind of all pounded me into the ground at Baba's feet, which is a blessing, if a painful one.
No, that's all these great reflections, believe me.
Yeah. Martha?
Yeah, I was just sort of
thinking about this in a different realm a little bit with how, like the Mandali, I mean, it seems like if we could look at their lives and how Baba created situations in their life where they would be, he would just, you know, put the situation in front of them and it would be totally what they didn't expect, and they were probably totally disillusioned. But then the truth and the fact that they know about Baba and, you know, just felt his presence and were with him so much, it was probably such a quick lesson, you know, it was just probably so instantaneous that disillusionment was wiped out right away, I would think, until the next one was required to come along and break down the ego a little bit. I was wondering, what do you think about that, Jeff? Is that true? I mean, were they disillusioned?
Oh yeah, they went through a lot. In fact, in the early years, they used to say, Baba used to take us up to here. They used to gesture that in the early years, and they stopped doing it. I don't think they wanted to discourage us, but Baba took them to the limits. I mean, a lot of them almost felt like just leaving Baba, or even some of them felt like taking their own lives. It was so painful. But they managed to get through.
The love of Baba so
What?
deeply. They felt Baba's love so deeply that their situation was looked at differently, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't want to bring dishonor onto Baba. Sometimes that was the only thing that kept them from doing something drastic. I mean, it's yeah, it's I think if we really knew what they went through internally, we would feel we got it not easy, but you know, I have a feeling they really went through it, but they didn't let on. Occasionally, they would tell you kind of what they really went through.
Thank
That
you.
is,
Just
yeah,
wanted that in your take on that.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And Roshni?
This bit reminds me of which Jeff just said about how fortunate we are of Era talking about after the manifestation period and describing it as the shoreless sea. That the manifestation time is like we are right at the shore and the ocean is right at our feet, and we are dipping into this ocean of love right there, and have all the time in the world, so to speak, in this manifestation time, as much as we can to dip into it. And there will be a time when this ocean will be shoreless and people will have to go like far and wide to in search of it to take that dip. So it reminds me of that bit. And I forget the name of the person, the young person who
Alan?
just shared a little while back about this fight with the ego or something, about the self-righteousness. I couldn't read the name.
Alan, yeah.
Okay, so it reminds me of one of these stories of Bal Natu in Conversations, where Baba pops in as he does in every story, and somewhat kind of asks him that why is he so upset, and very awkwardly he tells Baba that at this musical performance, you know, none of his friends acknowledged him and he felt neglected and very hurt and lonely. And after some silent moments, Baba smiles and says, the main cause of this is that you kind of find yourself to be this person because of your age, position, talent, has some special rights over others. And you want them to pay attention to you. But actually, in fact, you have to be more careful and watchful when others praise and respect you, because through such appreciation, your ego-centered life is strengthened.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful story where this entire conversation goes on, And then Baba continues words to effect that, you like yourself to be treated as a special somebody all the time, but you should be ready to accept what others take you to be. And that he needs to think of Baba's love, which is equally for all and which has no preferences of sorts. Then giving an example of a wildflower in a meadow, and that a beautiful rose in the garden have the same exposure to the sunlight above and the touch of the ground below, but yet they work differently and grow differently. There's this one passage which I have taken out, and I'll read that. Though beyond time, I am the one who is close to you, in and through each breath. This is the mystery in the time-bound creation that reveals my sense of humor. However, beginning to experience the bliss in my remembrance as you breathe or move about can help free you from the grip of pride and the expectation of special attention from others. When you remember me, you gradually begin to forget the ego-centered life. With my remembrance, you will develop appreciation for the various aspects of life without any personal attachment to them. For this, let the practice of offering these attachments to me awaken within you.
Yeah.
Which kind of in everyday life reminded me of earlier when I used to work in films and media. And before that, in my college life, I used to be extremely, the word sensitive for lack of vocabulary was used at that time. Oh, she came in and she's such a good friend and she didn't say hi to me first and she said hi to her first, with these kind of thoughts. And then obviously the thoughts also graduated to more things when on the film sets and so on, when we have people around. So it just took back of how everything has its own egocentric barometer, and we try to kind of calibrate that with the ego compass. And with Baba's love, everything, it just kind of disappears. And I don't know, I'm not finding the right words right now. And I just find asking his love to step in just disappears all that sensitivity, oversensitivity, or whatever we want to call it, for our own consolation of mind. So,
yeah. Hey, what I'm thinking, we should kind of move along, but there are a couple of more questions, but maybe they'll come up in the next section. If they hold on to them, and maybe they will, it's still about disillusionment. So let's go on to the next section. And we got Kellyanne and Larice that have some. Okay.
All right. So page 9, the great favor of disillusionment. Meher Prasad, care to read?
Yeah. The great favor of disillusionment. We have to want inner freedom more than any illusory thing. But we are dealing with our strongest addiction, our addiction to the creation. It is my understanding that we do not make spiritual progress if we are trying to create and maintain happy conditions in duality, while still maintaining unconscious bindings such as desires. The underlying purpose of life provides for gradual growth toward reality. But if we persist in trying to maintain a gross situation, it goes against this purpose. That is when the mechanism of disillusionment becomes activated. Disillusionment, and that would apply in our individual cases to the things that we are especially attracted to and bound by, can thus be a great favor to us. Tragedies such as great losses and terrible pain give us temporary detachment. If one firmly holds on to the rock of faith, temporary detachment gradually becomes permanent inner detachment, which is based on understanding, combined with intense longing for God. Then we will seek the reality, and we begin to enter the spiritual path and work within toward truth. We look to the Master within for security and support. As we go through different stages, our attitudes change. For example, in the beginning of the disillusionment process, when we are less mature, we feel thwarted and frustrated. As we become more mature, we learn how to become more detached in ways that are harmonious. Events in our lives are no longer seen as, quote, inflictions, but as blessings. In other words, as we progress, we do not always have the same reactions. The more mature we are, the more mature will be our reactions. Eventually, we are able to experience causeless happiness, an inner state of being that is not dependent upon the gross level at all.
Any comments there?
Lori, sorry.
Yeah.
Hi. I wanted to respond to the question about disillusionment of the mandali. And I was going to tell this story I read. And then because of the delay, Jeff, I actually could go get it. You know, when you said, let's go ahead. So then I had time to go get it. So basically, this is from Merwan's book. And Ahmednagar Center, I'm gonna just outline some of it and then I'll read exactly. Decided to hold a public procession in honor of Baba's birthday in 1968. They told Baba the idea and he was happy about it. So posters were printed. On the eve of Baba's birthday, Erich and I, Merwan, went out for the evening walk. And basically, it started raining cats and dogs, he says. And so poured throughout the evening and night, and Baba started to worry about the procession. And that was going to play. He said, how will they go for the procession if it's going to rain there? So here's the story I want to tell. Baba was keeping night watch at the time, and Baba kept sending him outside into the rain to find out whether there was any news from Ahmednagar. I think Bao sent a servant to call from the pumping station to find out if it was raining there. So Bao got soaking wet each time he went out, and Baba appeared to be totally oblivious of that and kept sending him back and forth repeatedly, to the point that eventually Bao was totally wet outside, but boiling hot inside. He thought, here, Baba is totally neglecting me. And in Ahmednagar, they are having a grand celebration and lots of fun. Word came that there were no rains in Nagar for the present. The clouds were holding up. Baba told Kaikobad to pray for no rain there, and it was quite a tense atmosphere. Bao was furious that Baba was repeatedly sending him out into the downpour that was continuing at Mirazad. And then suddenly Baba told Bao to bring him a towel that was in his room. Baba then personally started to dry Bao off, and all that anger and resentment that had built up evaporated. So Baba had a way of stirring things up and then bringing them back to normal again.
Beautiful. And may have averted the rain in Ahmednagar as a result. A gross exchange.
Toweled off the rain.
He gets him so pissed off. And then can you imagine Baba is toweling you off personally? And of course, all of that resentment would just come off. I mean, oh, so sweet. I was so happy to read that. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kellyanne?
I don't know if there's much I can add. I mean, I like the idea of thinking about being that irate, or that in the experience of feeling at a loss for having any kind of equilibrium with emotions or with the feeling of distress or disillusionment or pain. Like in that moment, it seems to me like all you can do is try to surrender some of it. Like, I feel like in that moment, there is no rationalizing, you know, looking at it from above, trying to understand it. That's what we do before and after the fact. So when I think about any of that, even with the Mandali, it seems to be about, I mean, the example that came to mind was Erich with feeling like he disappointed Baba to such a degree that he needed to leave early on, and that he decided to go in the middle of the night because he decided that he needed to strip his clothes off because Baba had given him the clothes, they didn't belong to him. And that as he was leaving, he realized that even his body didn't belong to him. And so there was no leaving. And I think, you know, for him to get to the point of feeling so disillusioned with his own behavior that he couldn't even stay and make it right shows me that like we all come up against that. It all seems like it comes to the point of like needing to the place where we realize we can't even go anywhere. You know, we're all his. And so, you know, like, where are we going to hide? And that's, to me, the humor in it all, is that the suffering is something you want to run away from. And yet we're not, there's nowhere to run, you know? So anyway.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Hey, Mayor Prasad, I want to just ask Mayor Prasad, you know that quote where Baba says, when you have to, you have to surrender to Baba, and I dare not, care not. You know that quote? I don't know if somebody can call it up on their computer. Do you know the quote,
Yeah,
Mayor Prasad?
I actually just posted it to Facebook, so reposted. I can pull it up.
Yeah, read this quote.
Yeah, should I read it right this minute, or
Yeah,
can
read
Robin
it
go
right
and I'll
now.
pull it up?
Yeah, because it goes right along with what we've been talking about.
Robin, can you go? I'll pull it up.
I just wanted to say that it does kind of feel like Baba keeps turning up the heat. You know, like I feel like I get one thing put in its place or figured out, or feel like I get beyond it or whatever, and then the next lesson comes, and it's harder than the last one. And you know, I deeply believe it's all to clear out the stuff and for the good. But like Kellyanne was saying, while you're going through it, even in the back of my mind, I can kind of hold that it's all for the good, but there is nowhere to go. And the grinding, I think, just has to be complete or intense or whatever it has to be to get us through it. So it's a good thing, but it feels so bad at the time. But I do think that he just keeps upping the ante, and that he doesn't want me to ride it out and not go through it totally, because then it wouldn't work. But when it's happening, it's like the end of the world or something. And I know better. I know it's not, you know, it's just Maya, but it's got its grips, and I think it's supposed to. I don't know. That's all. Thanks.
Yeah, no, it's so true. I mean, Darwin talks about how the contents of the subconscious keep getting dumped into our nicely ordered conscious life and creates all the disturbance. But all those disturbances that we experience and give to Baba or process at a conscious level means that the subconscious is getting emptied out more and more, so that Baba, that's one of the major veils between us and Baba, is getting removed. But
feels like such a failure, you know, to be pulled into it that completely.
Yeah.
And knowing better, kind of I feel like I'm failing God, failing myself, and I just want to be done. I don't want to. I feel like I chose to be here and go through what I'm going through, and then I think, but I can't do it anymore. I want out of here. I just can't do it. But I don't get out of here. So then, as just said, then he kind of gives you back some equilibrium, so you can wait till the next time you have to go.
Yeah. Angela, can you read that quote?
Shraddha found it.
Oh, Shraddha.
Yeah,
Okay.
I found it, but I also have another place. I think it was related to the context of a story by Jahangir Sukhadwala.
Yeah.
When you leave all to me, I dare not neglect. I think this reads, during this period, Jahangir Sukhadwala, Baba's niece, Gulnar's husband, was working at the Pune airport. One evening, as he was riding home on his scooter, he hit a pothole in the road and his brakes jammed. He was flung to the far side of the road and his scooter went flying in the opposite direction. He emerged unscathed, and he attributed it to his crying out Baba's name with all his heart. The next afternoon, when Jahangir excitedly recounted his miraculous escape to Baba, saying it was he who had saved him, Baba corrected him. It is not my miracle. I do not perform miracles. You say that at the time of the accident, you were wholeheartedly remembering me. So call it the miracle of my name. When everything goes wrong, the mind becomes helpless, and it has to rely entirely on the heart. These are the moments when you resign to my will, and so rely solely on my help. When you leave all to me, I dare not, care not, and you are relieved from the predicament.
Yeah, read that last section about whenever you,
When everything goes wrong?
yeah, this is it.
When everything goes wrong, the mind becomes helpless, and it has to rely entirely on the heart. These are the moments when you resign to my will, and so rely solely on my help. When you leave all to me, I dare not, care not, and you are relieved from the predicament.
Yeah. Yeah. Easier said than done. Okay. Shall we go on?
Yes. Page 10, a subtraction problem. Ken, you care to read? Ken, you there?
Well, I'm sorry, Angela, I don't have a book.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
Who else? How about Elizabeth?
There are several Elizabeths.
Were
The
you talking
opportunity-
the one I unmuted, Elizabeth Robertson.
Okay. A subtraction problem. Baba gives us clues about the spiritual path. Just the phrase withdrawal of consciousness in his discourse, Arriving at Self-Knowledge, is a big clue because the whole process of the spiritual path involves withdrawing our consciousness from the lures of the attractions in the gross world and beginning to work within. Inner withdrawal is precipitated by disillusionment, or simply common horse sense. We reach the point where we consciously withdraw our attention from the exterior world and begin to focus it more within, at inner levels. In other words, as we become tired of the sense of bondage that we ordinarily experience after so much disillusionment and considerable inner striving, we turn away from the gross and toward God and reality within. In essence, inner work is a process of using our consciousness to separate the false from the real, because the real cannot be added to the false. The false must go. What we have to do is counteract our own ignorance. I recall that Mayor Baba once said that the truth, that is the real, cannot be known unless the ignorance, the false, is known to be ignorance. That is all part of the conquest of the unconscious that Baba discusses.
Any comments there?
Well, I think that phrase, this phrase, simply common horse sense, kind of shocked me. Just, inner withdrawal is precipitated by disillusionment, or simply common horse sense. Does anyone get that?
I mean, I always kind of, his sense is that, you know, something that's just plain and obvious. You know, you don't go without changing your oil every once in a while in your car. I mean, it's common horse sense. You don't.
Well,
yeah.
What it sounds like to me is that when we're feeling this disillusionment, especially when it's intense, as some of the people here have talked about tonight, that it's actually a blessing, because they're on the verge of understanding more of the truth and the reality. But if one takes it that way.
Yeah.
If one takes it as the peeling off of the onion, you know, of these, and the uncovering of the sanskaras, or the uncovering of the bindings, so that we see what we need to do next.
Yeah, Baba says, and Darwin says it also, quoting Baba, that we're responding to all these immediate situations in our life, you know, the ups and downs and everything, but inwardly we're moving toward closer and closer to Baba without being aware that that's usually aren't aware that that's happening. That our consciousness is really pulling back into more and more into Baba and less into our little personality selves. But it's not normally seen until every once in a while you get a flash that you have grown a lot. Things that used to trouble you years ago just don't bother you anymore. And that's all an indication that you've grown out of things. But Baba's moving us along deeper and deeper into his being through all of this intense ups and downs, definitely.
And Heidi?
Yeah, I'm listening intently, and as I'm listening, my heart is opening, and I dare not care not is coming through, and I was thinking, I'm picturing Baba in a couple of films, and he's giving darshan, a lot of crowds, and I could look at his face and feel his disillusionment, and he's going like this throughout it all. He's giving and receiving love from the heart, and he's kind of being compassionate with himself, even to tolerate all this craziness of people that he has to deal with. And I thought, well, okay. And so I'm listening to everybody speaking through their heart. And I certainly also have the same types of feelings of failure and overreaction in my head and ego. But if I remember that film with Baba, I start to have more self-compassion. And I just wanted to say that I beat myself up terribly sometimes, and I'm feeling the words here of people doing the same, and just have a little compassion for yourself as Baba would. And it eases it. And we can be more natural and normal as people. And I just think that's key to receiving love. We're not perfect, yet we're just human right now. But if we can be more aware of loving ourselves and being compassionate, we can love other people, and the reactions become less potent. They're there, but they don't have that negative, edge to it. It's sort of helpful even, I'm finding, because sometimes I think if we withhold, let's say we don't want to react to somebody, let's say somebody does something horrible to us and it causes a lot of pain, and we're trying not to react, but then we don't say anything. Well, does that really help them get out of their ego? So sometimes if we have compassion, we could respond in a way that's loving and not, withhold, and it becomes a full love experience. But so I'm trying to do that in my situation, and it's not easy. So I thank everybody for sharing theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that compassion is really good. And Roshni?
Yeah, so this other story again from Conversations reminds me of this phrase which Baba uses in this story, titled as well the same, return to the center. And every time something that is being stirred up, it helps me to remember that phrase of, forgetting everything, but yet not forgetting it, and seeing Baba in that stirring pot as well, and trying to return to the center, which is again Baba, but the calmer one. So it is like being the whirlpool whereby everything is in, swirling around you, but the only calmest point is the point in the center, the vacuum in the center. And that return to the center phrase from that story, I try to recall it every time I feel any turmoil, and bring in this self-compassion also, saying, oh Baba, I was not supposed to feel this, I've again felt this irritation, and again giving it back to him that someday it will stop and not be there at all, but just coming back to him and giving it to him more and more. As I always feel that every night and every through the day, I give Baba a lot of homework, but that homework is after trying the best and then saying, now Baba, it is in your hands, it's your homework, it's no more with me. And I think that assignment works the best for me, at least, to give it all into him, and not rack our limited brains more on it. So I just keep dipping into the center and say, now Baba, it's all yours. And yes,
Beautiful.
it's been very helpful.
Yeah, so true, Roshni. Just to interject here, Erich used to quote Baba's method. This might give you some consolation. Where Baba said, quoting Erich, Baba said, my method is 2 steps forward, 1 step back. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You go forward spiritually, you do the right things, and then you screw up, and then you drop back, and you go forward a couple of steps, and you fall back. And Baba said that what happens there is that your pride of progress is being annihilated as you go along. Sometimes the spiritual group will just keep going forward and forward, but the pride kind of grows along with the spiritual advancement, so to speak, the spiritual growth. But with Baba, you have all these setbacks that keep us, well, not only compassionate, but keep us humble. And our pride is being annihilated at the same time. So, it's not a smooth ride straight ahead. There's some speed bumps along the way. Chuck holes.
That's good. Looks like no hands up.
Okay,
We've got,
let's
14 minutes for the next section. I suppose that's enough time.
Individual paths.
A subtraction problem.
Oh.
Don't subtract that little chapter.
Wait.
How
No,
about
no,
how
no.
about Elizabeth Sutherland? Since I
Elizabeth Robertson just read that.
no.
So individual paths, I think.
Oh, really? Am I
Yeah.
that out of it? Sorry. Individual paths. Go ahead.
Right. Despite periods where we may not seem to be getting anywhere, Meher Baba says that we are continuously growing and making progress. The journey involves sporadic growth and apparent ups and downs until we reach the path of fortunate non-return. Each of us has to work with the sanskaras, the limitations, and the illusion of our own environment, of our own being. There are as many perspectives as there are individuals because of our different sanskaric backgrounds. So we are not identical in how we do this inner working. We have to forge our own ways of working and follow our own inner path. Also, we go through phases, so the ways in which we work change. It is not a matter of doctrines, and Meher Baba purposely avoided establishing systems or doctrines. And we are not following followers of Baba. We are following the Master himself within our own being. I like that. I like that last sentence. We're not following the followers. So we're so lucky to be here so soon after Baba was. Thank you.
I think we've been here before.
You know, one of the things that there's kind of withdrawing from attachment to the world, but our greatest and attraction to creation, but our greatest addiction, as Darwin would say, is our addiction to the bottle of self-preoccupation. You know, we're looking after ourselves, you know. I wake up and say, well, hey, how am I doing? You know, why don't I wake up and say, I wonder how Angela's doing today? It's to break that, you know, always looking through our own lens. And, you know, the Mandali, I felt very good at that. They were able to look out beyond themselves or away from themselves into the person in front of them, not just looking through their little personal window. So that the self-preoccupation is a very hard thing to get out of. And you know, it's really love that it eventually dissolves all that apparatus. Yeah.
Marinage, did you have your hand up?
I just wanted to mention very quickly that yes, this part, individual path, is absolutely my favorite part of the whole chapter. I actually highlighted, and I look at it sometimes, maybe 1, 2, 3 times a day, because that to me is the answer to my problems. And yeah, individual path. And of course, the last sentence is very profound also, that we are following Master himself within our own being. So I just wanted to kind of second the whole paragraph.
Yeah, beautiful.
And Rosalie?
Jay Baba, that reminded me what Jeff, what you were saying about the self-absorption. Just this line, I love this line here. See me live in you in small ways of life, the everyday ritual of selfless harmony. This is something about selfless harmony. I love that. Selfless harmony. And I do feel now with, I like to call it Corona, you know, all the isolation tendency. And our lives are, we're seeing the small ways and that we take care of ourselves. But I like that, the everyday ritual of selfless harmony. We could be more in harmony with ourselves. You know, it's just a beautiful way of laying out words. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Wow. Where did Angela go?
I'm here. There are no hands up.
Oh, yeah. Anything, we're kind of getting toward the end. Any last minute things? It was amazing how so many people on this particular section of Darwin's book kind of shared the great difficulties, internal difficulties of of the thoughts and emotions and feelings that come on so powerfully and make it very difficult to steer our boat through this ocean here. And I think everybody shares at one period or another a tremendous amount of inner turmoil, which lets up at times and comes and orbits back in again. But it does get better as we don't react so much to our reactions. We kind of observe our reactions. That then you get a little space there.
And Elizabeth Robinson.
Yes, when Rosalie talked about senseless harmony, that hit a chord for me. That was not meant to be a pun, but I guess it was.
No, it was selfless harmony.
Selfless, sorry,
Yeah,
selfless, selfless. So this is, yeah. So selfless harmony. So how I interpret that for myself is really self-centered way. So I think about a day, I think about what I want to do, what I want to get done, who I want to see, who I want to talk to, anything like that. And then I start getting frustrated if it doesn't happen the way I want, the time I want, the person's not there, the call doesn't go through, the person doesn't call back, or whatever it is. Something. I have another flood. I've just had like the 8th or 9th flood in my place. So, it's like, so that selfless harmony to me is when you just kind of accept that this is it, and to kind of get peaceful with that, and then wait and see what that means in terms of the development of the day and whatever is supposed to happen, because what's supposed to happen may not be what I think is going to happen, but maybe something better than that. So, so if I can't do something at a particular time, maybe it's because I'm going to see someone else at a different time, or somebody needs to talk to me about something, or, I mean, who knows what it is. But I find if I can get myself into that mode, getting rid of what I think the ego thinks is the best thing for the day, then it turns out to be a better day and more harmonious.
Beautiful. Yeah. No, that's excellent.
And
where did she get that? I want to write down that source for that.
That's from Narina, I think.
Oh,
that's from. It's from the. It says God has to be manifested. It's actually so beautiful. It speaks of how human Baba is, but I wanted to say, that see me live in you in small ways of life. the everyday ritual of selfless harmony. But the next line too is so incredible. The unsatisfied element in you is God, who needs you to be like him. And that's almost a little, that's God's need. I love that. He needs, that's why he keeps coming. He needs us to wake up that we're all one. Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
But that's from the Blue Bus period, you know, the Mayor Baba journals. And that's the title of it. God has to be manifested.
Just type it in. Okay. Angela.
Roshni?
Yep. So just on the aspect of the individual parts, for me, it is, there are so many times where this aspect of whether it goes into the zone of righteousness or I don't know what, but so many times, at least in my early, years with Baba, it was, this is not Baba and that is not Baba. And then I wondered who is contradictory to that, because if Baba has said, I'm everything and I am nothing, and anything in between that also is me, then how is anything not Baba? So it reminds me of reading this bit that I either believe that everything is him, and therefore there is no scope that nothing is not him, even the wrong, which is supposedly to be my individual path to reach him in whatever due time. So also suggesting of how I go to him, whether this way or that way, reminds me to read this little bit, which is on the back cover of Conversations. So I asked you guardedly, what is profitable? What is greater, your name or your form? You looked deeply into infinity and seemed to reflect for some moments. Then you smiled comfortingly at me and replied, when my name seeps into the unconscious realm of mind, it strums the sweetest chords of the heart. And when my form becomes the source of your sight, it reflects itself in other forms with a graceful heart. And you concluded, so the song that sings the glory of either name or form is equally great.
Beautiful.
And that gave me a lot of satisfaction that I don't need to worry about why my path is different from what I'm hearing of other Baba lovers, and gave me that strength to just focus on the way he wants to deal with me through my own maladies, rather than focusing on how he dealt with others through their ways.
Excellent. Yeah. Yeah.
And we'll take a last hand before a moment of silence. Heidi?
Yeah, I was just thinking that when we first started this tonight, the little section on healthy suffering and the last paragraph about planning ahead to face these sun scars, and with the virus and everything, it's like Baba has stirred up this sanskaric pot in the world and within us, and then he gets his divine washcloth and he's wiping it away. And how grateful I am, and you are, I know, that he planned ahead and created this group for us, and a lot of connections that we have each other. And what I'm noticing is in life, with the suffering and a lot of people suffering. The last month, some people I hadn't talked to in maybe 30 years or so reached out to me and found me, and it was a wonderful experience. And every single one of them asked me about Bob. And I remember Baba, and I said, oh, you do? And I don't even remember mentioning it, but I always had a Baba picture somewhere, everywhere I went. I just, wow. So Bob is not only supporting us as Baba lovers, but he's reaching out and drawing everyone in their own way to love God. And I'll just share this. I had a conversation with my sister. She asked me to say the Master's Prayer and Prayer of Repentance every night. We started, after she got better, we started to connect every night on the phone, and she asked me. So I sent her the prayers, and so this is what we do. And sometimes I really don't feel like doing it. Honestly, I'm so tired. I thought, well, she's helping me now because it's a structure. So that's different. And it's wonderful. But you know, it's just amazing how he reached out. And so she said to me the other day, she goes to a Catholic church. She converted to Catholicism in the last year. So she has a relationship with a sister who takes her to church, and she loves it. And she started to pray. And she said to me, after the prayers, she said, you know, it doesn't really matter what name of God I use when I pray. Because I think I might have said to her, well, this is great. You can pray to Jesus and Bob. And she said, well, it really doesn't matter. And she started to name all the avatars. And she said, remember when we were kids and we would name all the avatars when you found out about Bob? And I said, yes, I do. And it was just the most phenomenal thing. I realized that through that conversation, everyone in the world that Bob is stirring up is finding ways to connect with their path, whether formal or not. And it's just beautiful. But I'm grateful for this group because it's helping support me, and I could see all of you really to hang in there when he starts stirring that Senskar pot, because he's stirring it. And I thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Heidi. Yeah, wow. So I guess we'll have a few moments of silence, and then, yeah, let's go ahead with that. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Now,
Jeff, you're muted. You're muted.
I was saying if after a bit, if you want to join in a heart-centered meditation, it's short but very powerful, and that Stu leads us on. And but anyway, anything. But in the meantime, I guess everybody can unmute if you have anything to share. Oh, wow, I just thought of something and it's escaped me.
Well, Jeff, one of the things I liked when I was in the Pilgrim Center with you was that morning meeting where you brought your quotes and we discussed those.
Yeah.
It would be quite interesting to have you bring some quotes, or have the whole group bring some quotes and include that as part of our discussions.
Yeah. Hey, I have one right here in my pocket.
Hey, what do you know?
This is Baba, and this is, I consider, an unfortunate truth. Baba said, he said this to Arnavas. It is nothing to give in when you are wrong, but it has spiritual value to give in when you are right. That's a tough one. It is nothing to give in when you are wrong, but it has spiritual value to give in when you are right.
And do you know what precipitated his comment to her?
I don't know, but it was probably their marriage.
I was going to say that's a perfect guideline for marriage.
Yeah. But it's in the book Gift of Love, I think, or whatever the book is, her book about her life with Baba.
Well, if there's nothing to it to give in when you're wrong, why is it so hard?
Here's one more, and then seeds germinate. This is one of Mara's favorite quotes. Seeds germinate in soft soil. I plant my seed of love, not in your strengths, but your weaknesses. Seeds germinate in soft soil. I plant my seed of love, not in your strengths, but your weaknesses. You know, I'll tell you one thing. I mean, talking about going through stuff, years ago, I did something very terrible. And it created a tremendous mental turmoil in my consciousness for a couple of years. And I mean, it was so bad that Erich didn't even want me to share it with anybody else. But I said to one of my trips, I went to India, and when I left, it was still there. After 2 years, it was still there. This kind of psychic backlash or something. And on the second year, I was in Mandalay Hall with Erich, and I said, you know, why did this have to happen? You know, why did it, you know, I didn't want this to happen. Why did it happen? And Erich said, but you've grown. And I said, Erich, what do you base that on? I don't feel I've grown at all. I think it's made my life worse. He said, now you can't hold your head so high. So that's one of those things. I mean, that's a particular type of thing, you know, of these things that we go through. And he was right. I mean, because I didn't understand how this could have been growth. It became a preoccupation. Anyway.
So did that help you lessen your?
What's that?
So did that help lessen your concern about it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I realized some of these things happen. We do certain things, and they do make us more humble. You know, I know one friend of mine. He used to feel critical of the marriages here in Myrtle Beach when they would break up and everything. And then a couple years later, his marriage broke up, you know, and he understood. He had that. Now he had compassion. Previously, he was critical and disapproved of this, but he found out why these things happened and never felt critical or disapproved of before. But there, look at what he gained. Compassion and empathy. So sometimes these things happen and you don't want them to happen, but it's part of Baba's loving wisdom that kind of works out in our little private melodrama.
Hey, Jeff, when you were talking about the humiliation or the humbling, what I thought of, and then you brought up Erich, but before that, I thought about how Erich would have to take kind of abuse from people. Like people would come before Baba, right? Maybe you could share a little bit on that too. And then they'd blame Erich for stuff. And Baba would let it happen. Can you share any of that?
Well, the mandala had a certain role where people were dying to see Baba, and Baba sometimes didn't want to see people. I mean, he can't just be open to everybody that comes along from all over India. So the mandali had to be the people that Baba himself couldn't turn them away without hurting their devotion to him, their dedication to him. So the mandali would be they would be the bouncers. They would take all of the, the abuse. And people actually thought that they were keeping Baba to themselves. But really, they protected Baba so that he could do his inner work and everything without people knocking on the door of Maharazad repeatedly. You see what I mean? I mean, they had to take that. Yeah.
I'm thinking of actually a few things, Jeff. One, there's a Sufi saying, the door to God is very wide and very low. And I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking again, I'm paraphrasing, but Baba saying, because of me, you all have this infinite pool of love inside you. And when you fall in your weaknesses, clean yourself in that pool and refresh yourself again and again, no matter how many times you clean yourself in that pool, you can never make it dirty. And I love that he says, when you fall in your weaknesses, not if.
Yeah.
He knows we're going to do it. And then the last thing I'm thinking is the story of Erich. Remember, were they in Nasik? And he would go out the gate of the nice place they were staying in, and there were these guards at a nearby, another compound, and they'd salute Erich in the morning, right?
Yeah.
And he was starting to feel a little puffed up. And then a little bit after that, Baba had him clean out the latrines, and he'd have to carry the full pots of the poop right in front of the same guards. And they saw him coming, and they put up their hands, and then they just turned away from him.
Yeah. Obviously an untouchable after all. Yeah.
Stuart, that the quote about washing yourself in the pool, isn't that from, Baba said that it's from Arnavaz's book. Does anybody recall that?
You let me read that. Actually, I have that.
Yeah, there you go.
It's called I Love.
So wonderful.
Yeah.
It's from a book called Is That So?
Yeah, that's so.
Page
Look up
80.
I Love You. Erich's book, yeah.
The title of this chapter is That Pool of My Love Within You by Erich. This reminds me of an incident that occurred during Baba's visit to America in 1952. Baba was in Myrtle Beach, and one of the people who came to see him was a woman who had first met Baba in the States in 1935. She felt very bad that her way of life had displeased Baba and caused him to suffer. Baba assured her that he loved her and not to worry about anything else. But the next day when she saw Baba, she once again was upset that her weaknesses had caused Baba to suffer. Again Baba told her, quote, I love you, end quote, and then went on to assure her, quote, do not worry about your weaknesses. Eventually they will go. Even if they linger, love will one day consume them. Everything disappears in the ocean of love. Because I love you, you have a pool of love within you. When you feel wretched, when you fall in your weakness, have a dip in that pool of love. Refresh yourself in that pool of my love within you. It is always there. Even if you wash your weaknesses every day in that pool, it will remain clear. Don't worry, Baba loves you. That is what really matters. Baba would end quote. Baba would comfort us, quote, you fall, you stumble, falter, but if you don't fall, how will I be able to exercise my infinite compassion? Remember, when you stumble, my hand is extended to lift you up. And all that matters is to remember Baba. Do not harp on and brood over your weaknesses, your failings, and your failures. That will lead you nowhere. What counts on the path of love is to begin to remember Baba more and more.
Beautiful.
Dear Baba.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most incredible quotes from Baba. You know, and it's like the definition of compassion and his love for us.
Can you say the page numbers for where it is in that so, please?
That's page 83.
Thank you.
Yeah. I was looking for a quote, but I wasn't able to find it. It's a beautiful quote. Someone came, I'll remember as best I can. Someone came to Rumi and said, is there a place here on earth into the divine realm? And Rumi said, yes, but the shape and size of it is kind of geared to each person. And it takes it's the shape of someone when they're on their knees. No one goes to that realm without except on their knees. Basically, what you said, Stu, is humility that gets you into that realm. And the interesting thing is, and Darwin used to say that in the Mondley too, is realization isn't going to come to you when you get everything perfected. You're going to be right in the middle of something, washing the dishes, or even maybe getting angry at somebody, and bam, it's not our notion of getting more and more perfect. It's actually getting perfectly human, you might say.
Yeah, Baba, the master surgeon, to do the surgery that's needed. I'm thinking of that story with Kitty, I think it was in Nasik, when she was living in India and she was in charge of the kitchen. And she was supposed to just give out plain bread to people, and people were coming to her complaining, and they said, well, couldn't you just make toast? And she thought, well, okay, it's just toast. It's still just plain bread. And she did that. And Baba found out. He said, what did you do? What did I tell you to do? You broke my order. And she said, but Baba, it's just toast. He said, you broke my order. And he was all fiery toward her. And she was so exasperated, she picked up an orange and threw it at Baba.
Yeah.
And Baba just said to her, is it done? You're just trying to draw that out of her and get her to understand the full obedience.
Yeah, and she said she didn't actually. I mean, she threw it at his feet, luckily, but she said that took I would say a lot of anger out of her. I mean, the problem of anger, Baba kind of brought up and lanced it, you might say.
Yeah.
And she was never really angry in that same way after that. Amazing what Baba can do.
When even Mansari, who was the sweetest little angel in the world, when we knew her, had a terrible temper years before.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Shraddha had a great quote. I don't know if she still has it though. Of something that
I
Baba,
might be able to pull that one again.
this is a beautiful quote, and Baba is referring to Mansari, who got upset with Elizabeth and Narina and the monkey Lucky, who's driving her crazy. And this is what Baba said to her, if Shraddha can find it.
Yep, I found it. Someone asked Hafiz what spirituality meant.
This is Baba's speaking.
Yeah, Baba is speaking this. And he answered in one ode, unless you go against your lower self, you cannot unite with your higher self. Now, what is the lower self? That which makes you think you are small. That which makes you feel that you're not satisfied, not happy. That which makes others see you as small. So the meaning of going against the lower self is to transform this in quite the opposite direction. Be that which makes you look big and makes others see you as big. Remain pleased and contented, happy and satisfied. When you are displeased, unhappy, or upset, and moody, it is your lower self asserting itself. People always put the blame for their dissatisfaction and suffering on others. But the fact is, when one suffers, it is one's own fault. Mansari became excited. She was angry and suffered, and she laid it all on Elizabeth, Norina, and Lucky. But if she had gone beyond the lower self, she would have taken it calmly, swallowed it, and remained unaffected. If you are firm, nothing will upset you. If you try, you will surely have it. I do not want any repression, but I do want transformation. I never for one moment say that you must not get angry. Don't be confused. You must get angry when the occasion arises, but at once you must get it out of your head. If you're not hungry, to fast has no meaning. Spiritual freedom has to be won by oneself, for oneself, through watchful and unfailing war against the lower self and the lower desires. Jai Baba.
Yeah, beautiful.
What page is that from, Meher Prasad?
It's Lord Meher, page 2143.
Lord Meher. Is that from the hard copy or the on?
I was reading it from online, and here's a link. I just pasted it.
But I have the hard copy. Do you have any idea what page that would be?
It says in here that it is Lord Meher, page 2143. I would assume that's what it is, but I don't know.
I looked there. It's not there.
Oh,
I think
okay.
the hard copy.
Can you just go online and find it online and read it?
Yeah, I pasted that link in the chat.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, so shall we, if there's, I don't know if there are any other comments, but if you would like to do this heart-centered meditation, it gives you a real expansive experience of Baba and more than that. Unless someone has something that they want to share before we go on. Okay, Stu, go for it.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right. If we could mute, that would be helpful. Thank you. So Jai Baba. So just settle into wherever you're sitting or laying and start to breathe into your belly. And with your breath, just let the world start to slip away even more while we do this. And keep breathing into your belly. Fully and gradually. And bring your attention into your heart center, your heart space. And breathe into your heart and take note of whatever you might see or feel there. And your heart space is the home that we all have in us of Meher Baba's infinite love. It's always there for us and there's no end. And let's breathe into this infinite well for a moment. And now pick somebody, it could be a person, even a group, who you would like to share the gift of Meher Baba's infinite love. And we'll focus on sharing that love and let your heart guide you, whoever comes up, whoever you see, and feel to share the gift of his love with. There could be somebody you've had conflict with or having conflict with. It could be somebody who you know is struggling. It could be somebody you'd simply love to share this gift with, this generous gift. And get a good image of them. And breathe in as you see and you feel their heart space. And keep breathing in and notice whatever you might feel or see. And now let's start to picture Baba's infinite love. Just gently but generously flowing into them and their heart space without end. And I see this liquid, warm, golden light just endlessly flowing. We can never use it up. And this love is healing, soothing, cleansing, forgiving, inspiring. And it's completely filling their heart and their heart space. And we never know what magic this love might do with them. And see this love flowing to overflowing and flowing through their heart and just continuing to flow and now filling every bit of their being, every little nook and cranny. Every bit of them is illuminated now with Baba's infinite love. And keep breathing in as you continue to see and feel Baba's love flowing into and through their heart space and every bit of them. And we'll stay there another moment. Keep breathing in and seeing this generous, infinite, boundless love just keep flowing in. And now let's give thanks for this incredible gift that Baba gives us and how we can focus on his love and share it. And know that you can return here again and again. And let's bid farewell for now to whoever you've chosen. And gently bring your attention back to your own heart and heart space. And breathe in as you settle your attention in there. And again, notice whatever you might see or feel in your own heart. And keep breathing in as you start to see and feel Meher Baba's infinite love generously flow into your heart. And his love is boundlessly flowing into your whole heart space. It's filling every bit of your heart. And it's cleansing, healing, inspiring, forgiving. And without end, it's linking you to his heart. And keep breathing in as you continue to see and feel Baba's infinite love flowing into your whole heart space. And now overflowing richly, generously. And now flowing into and illuminating your entire being. And again, you never know what magic might take place with the flow of Baba's love inside you. And we'll stay here another moment with the flow of this incredible divine love. And now let's give thanks for this remarkable gift of Meher Baba's infinite love. and being able to focus on it inside us and in our hearts. And know that we can return here too, again and again. It's always available. And now breathe in as you gently bring your awareness back to wherever you're sitting or laying. And give yourself a few moments to adjust back. And whenever you're ready, open your eyes.
Jai Baba, thank you, Stuart.
Jai Baba,
Thank you, Stuart.
you're welcome.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome, Marcia. So if anybody would like to share anything, we welcome
Thank you.
hearing. Welcome, Clarice.
I'll share. I think what Baba was guiding me to was, of course, all the love I received this evening, and we all received from him through each other and through the greater. And in that meditation, it was a little different than the other healings. And I was able to share love, but Baba's guidance was fill yourself up right now for a little bit. Give yourself a time of just focusing on filling this cup up for a little bit. It's so sweet. I think very, very, very sweet. And I think these Sundays are amazing. I've been, as I said last time, I'm doing the 7 realities in the morning. And I think that that experience opens something up. I feel it during Sundays, and then effort and grace clears it. You know, it's a Sunday worship service for sure on truth and love. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Baba.
So glad to hear, Cindy. So you feel different than you did a little while ago?
Remarkably different. It's the feeling of, what was the fuss about? You know, when Baba says like all your suffering will amount to almost nil. And so, I mean, I could tell sad tales of woe on human illusionment on multiple levels, but it's like, well, why is that a fuss? And
That's great. That's great.
Beautiful.
Happy to hear that.
It's a little similar to what I experienced, just in that I guess I just tried to include everybody. And I mean, like everybody, including, I hate to say it, but even like Hitler and all the dead people and Trump and all the people marching in the streets and just everybody. It's just all part of God's, you know, energy and love and all that is. And I just kept trying to, just kept like picturing everybody. Start, you know, with family and close to things, but just all of it. It was, felt pretty peaceful.
I could share something.
Thank you, Robin.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Louise.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go momentarily because our iPad has got 10% battery. So it was beautiful. And interestingly, when I was feeling myself at the end, well, initially I was having trouble kind of feeling it internally, but I was having no trouble sending it. And then I'm glad you came back because then it was like really easy to feel. And I meditate in the morning, first looking at Baba's picture for 10 minutes and then Mara's picture for 10 minutes. So when you're saying Baba's feeling, then it was like, wait, Mara wants to feel me too with love, you know? So letting her, you know, letting my connection with her and letting that love in there too. So I just wanted to share that. And then I went in my mind to the Samadhi and, you know, for more love. And maybe you all have heard, I just heard today that tomorrow they're opening up the Samadhi area for darshan. You can't go in, but people can 6 feet. I'm connected to someone in Marizal. We talk frequently, and they have to be 6 feet. You know, they have to keep social distance, and then they can't go. You know, but I was looking in, and then they're like, "No, come on in." And of course, I'm mentally doing this. You know, so I went in, of course. So I just wanted to share that. It was really lovely.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Thank you so much. Good
Yeah.
night.
Good night.
I think we got Marcia up there.
After the election, I was walking in the woods and I made up this song and it's on I recorded it because I don't know if I'd remember it. So I think maybe I'm going to get the nerve up to play it. Okay. So let me know if you can hear it. At the time, Mayor Baba KJ. At the time, Mayor Baba KJ. Oh, what a wonderful day. Oh, what a wonderful day. Mayor Baba KJ. What a beautiful, splendid day. Oh, Mayor Baba KJ. What a splendid day. Everything is beautiful and sparkly and shiny. You've worked your magic. You brought us to our knees. We were so very displeasing. It was the only thing that you could do. Now it's time for the healing to begin anew. Oh, Mayor Baba. Oh, Mayor Baba. Oh, Mayor Baba. Have to thank you. We have to thank you. Oh, Mayor Baba. Oh, Mayor Baba. What a lucky day. What a lucky day. Everyone is so joyful and happy. Everyone is so joyful and happy. What a wonderful day. What you brought us yesterday is done, done, done.
Okay.
Hey, very nice.
Thanks, Marcia.
That's a little embarrassing.
Oh,
Anyway,
thank you, Marcia, so
after-
much. That's so sweet.
Oh, thank you. But after being so happy, then on Thursday, I ran into some computer problems like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And usually, you know, you're supposed to give up, and I know you're supposed to do that. And I kept trying. And then finally I said, Baba, I'm through with this. And I turned it off and I turned it over. And then everything kind of worked out really good, even though I kind of let my lower self get me for a while. But then I didn't do that to myself like how I usually torture myself for days. And I just said, hey, you know, it's just what it is, and don't be mad at yourself. And I felt pretty good. So it's really true. You can catch that, you know, when you start to torture yourself. Yeah. So the work that we have to do. And it's interesting that everybody's probably, seems like this week, going through more disillusionment at the same time, right? But I was disillusioned with myself, you know, and I did it to myself, you know. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. You
Yeah.
can delete that. It's okay.
Thank you.
You know, I had my kind of toward the end of my meditation, I kind of saw this a picture, the scene where Erich is coming down to the end of his time in creation.
Oh.
And it's a kind of poignant moment because he's saying goodbye to Baba, and he's done with this place, and Baba is eternally stuck here. You know, I mean the poignancy. He would want to stay there and be with Baba, and always help him out in any way. But sooner or later he has to go, and Baba has no place to go. He's here looking after us endlessly. There's no there's no break for him. You know, we eventually exit out of this creation, and Baba and I also believe Mara are here always, looking after us. And I think, wow, oh my God. But I was feeling the poignancy that Erich must feel, like he's deserting Baba, even though he's absorbing into his essence. But Baba's still there, looking after us from the very beginning till our end. Yeah. Anyway.
Isn't it true, Jeff, that once the avatar leaves, he is no longer man on earth, but he assumes that huge, infinite presence. So.
But he's right there with each of us, going through whatever we're going through.
I guess I don't, yeah.
Yeah.
Although I don't doubt that, and he's certainly a source of my strength, but I don't have any regrets for him necessarily. In other words, I think he has assumed another status, another, a whole other source. I mean, even greater power. You know, he is no longer. So anyway, it's just when you made that comment, it just sounded like maybe you were feeling sorry for Meher Baba. And
I do.
Well, I think that he's just so above and beyond now, you know, he's still accessible, but I think that he is free of that, all that suffering that he suffered as when he was God on earth. There is a difference in those statuses, I believe, in those in that form and in that capacity.
Well, I mean, I think he's free of the physical suffering, but I think he is right here. Well, I mean, that's just I have a sense that he's going through all of this with each one of us. Our suffering is his suffering. You know, I mean, Baba has said that in a lot of different ways. You know, I am always feeling what you feel. But I mean, that's just kind of my sense of it. But
Well,
I'm not.
Yeah.
I can. What can I say? It is just kind of my particular camera angle. But I don't know what do some of the other people feel. I'm curious.
I think he's much less limited these days than when he was in the body.
Oh yeah, I mean, I do feel there's a qualitative difference. But what do you think, Stu?
I'm still pondering a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the minor incarnations? I mean, he must have had to take a good rest after this major one.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he needed a rest.
Or maybe he just did so much work during this time that he just doesn't need to rush back.
Yeah, I think some of his lovers in the future are going to have such longing for them, he's going to have to make a little minor visit. I mean, there are these minor advents, you know, when he comes down.
Like wasn't the Guru Nanak, who is the Sikh, the first of the 9, or else the last of the 9? I think there were that headed the Sikh.
I don't know if he was Guru Nanak, but he was Shankaracharya, one of the.
Who's that?
You know, around that time. Different ones, Shivaji and.
Yeah.
Little, and Baba said he was even a sweetmeats vendor in North India, and he was a Buddha monk in where was it? Not Thailand, but somewhere over there. He said he had been a monk. So yeah.
And Jeff, so did you read that somewhere, or is that something? Not that I'm doubting at all, but or is that something that Erich would have shared with you? Or
yeah, many times.
That's great that you had that contact with Erich.
And it's probably written down somewhere too. It's probably in Lord Mayhair. If we had one of these young people, they can bring it up on their computers in no time.
Or you could. And what about? I think it was important too for right now is that he was Akhenaten.
Eknat?
No, Akhenaten, Pharaoh Akhenaten, who brought belief in one God, and it didn't go over well then. And his mirror would be Nefertiti, the beautiful mirror, because I know Phyllis Frederick remembered being his daughter then, and also Diane Cobb was her sister. He had 7 daughters.
Wow.
Yeah, and anyway, I find that fascinating because in this book by Manly Palmer Hall, The Secret Destiny of America, it goes way back to the beginning of democracy. And it's interesting if his being Akhenaten and bringing belief in one God, or, you know, but he was very open to the people. He met with all the people. He didn't have like, I'm the Pharaoh and you're nothing, you know, just keep building pyramids. You know, but it's so beautiful because I think now with this whole thing with democracy, I mean, people Baba having the accident right in America, spilling his blood right in America, and letting Mara share it. It's just so it's so timely, because democracy is like, and like shaky ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, good night, everybody. Thank
Yeah.
you for a
See you,
wonderful
Kathy.
evening.
Good night, Kathy.
Wonderful to see you always. Yeah.
Wonderful to see you too. I love everyone.
Dear people, thank you so much.
Baba.
Such blessings.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
Baba.
Baba.
And yeah, great. Terry, you
Jeff.
doing all right up there? Yeah.
Jeff, just going back on the matter of Baba's suffering with taking on the role. My take, I can't really understand about my take is he's sustained by the infinite self he is, and yet I think of that dream that Monty had, where she's far up above the earth. Remember, when she looked down, and there was this little bitty baby suit, baby clothing on a clothesline, and she realized that was like for Baba to be poured into for his role on the earth. In this little bitty, remember that dream?
Yeah.
So on the one hand, he's incredibly constricted to take on the role, but he's sustained at the same time, but by the infinity of who he is.
Yeah, there's a one quote, if I can remember it correctly, and I wrote it down, the exact page number, but Baba said the same theater, the same show, the same actors, 24 hours a day, eternally. And I have not only to something take in the show, but smile and clap. So the same theater, the same show, the same actors, 24 hours a day, eternally. And I have not only to stay alert, something like that,
Yeah,
but smile and clap.
yeah.
A very unusual quote from Baba.
So going back to Baba's suffering and how he may or may not be in a different state, doesn't it say that on earth Baba did not have his infinite bliss, but he would have that now, which would be sustaining him. So I think that would be like a different state in terms of
Modifying.
Yeah.
Erich used to be like so amazed that he would get up, speaking on behalf of Baba, and Baba would be like helped out on the dais, in such pain and everything. And he would be up on the microphone saying, declaring Baba's God, infinite knowledge, power, and bliss. And he's thinking, how could they ever think that this is infinite power? Or he can hardly get around. I mean, he has to be helped around. And he used to think, what could people be thinking, out there in the darshan? But it didn't affect them. The fact that Baba sent his infinite power, and he's coming out helped out on the stage, basically powerless, and the bliss is not infinite bliss. Well, he's definitely not in bliss. He's in a lot of pain. And he used to think, what are those people? How do they take these words that I'm saying? And yet they never so-called were troubled by the fact that Baba's form there was basically a contradiction, you could say, of infinite knowledge, power, and bliss.
But also Baba left those how do you get to the real reality? And he said when Oh, I can't. There's a whole list. When you have, I think it's when he tells you that something that it's night and it's really daytime, and that it's dark, and the perfect master or Baba, the avatar, tells you it's daylight, and you believe it's daylight, then you will realize me. Ways to realize me. That's what I'm thinking of. The different ways to realize God. And part of it is believing and having faith when everything looks as if it's to the contrary.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a little, I don't think I have it with me, but
no, there was one master. I mean, Erich used to tell this story from Baba. There was one master who he had a disciple named Ayaz, and he was kind of the favorite. I think his name was Ramdas was the master, and his favorite was Ayaz. And just to give a demonstration, he told Ayaz it's totally dark, even though they were in a room was all lit up. It's night, it's dark. And then he asked him to do something. And so he had to stumble through the room to carry out what the master had asked him to do. Obviously, because the master said it was dark, he experienced it as dark. He said that the other disciples could see why he was the favorite, because he had he was so open to the suggestions by the master.
When those 12 ways of realizing me are listed, that one falls under faith. It's number 5. And what Meher Baba says is this, and it's a different an example, a different individual, but it says, if you have the complete faith that Kalyan had for his master in believing it was night, although it was day, because his master said so, then you will know me.
Yeah. Oh, good. So it was Kalyan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the one about the lake, Melanie?
About the what? The lake?
Yeah, if you feel the peace of as placid as a lake or something like that.
Yeah, let me find
it.
Well, let me see.
If you have that, something that piece of a frozen lake.
Yeah, that's right. That's the second. It's the second one. It's peace of mind. If you have the peace of a frozen lake, then too you will realize me.
Yeah.
They're longing. That's the first one. Peace of mind, humility, desperation, faith, fidelity, control through love, selfless service, renunciation, obedience, surrender, and love.
Desperation's the one about the desert, right? And the thirsty person in the desert.
Let me see. If you experience the desperation that causes a man to commit suicide, and you cannot live without seeing me, then you will see me. And the desert is.
Hey, Stu, I'm gonna go eat. But hey, great to see all of you.
Hey, Jeff, I thought we were just going to talk until 10 o'clock.
We could.
No, you better go eat. You better go find something to eat.
One time we got to talking after Artie.
Yeah.
And it was like 10 o'clock, and about 12 o'clock, all these like little boxes started coming up with Indian names, and I was kind of new to that. At one point, I recognized a guy, and I said, "Rakesh, are you Rakesh Acharya?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, who are all these people? Are they actually listening to us?" They had been listening to us for a couple hours, and we went on until 1:30 in the morning. 3.5 hours.
That was thrilling.
It was fun. It was great.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey, I'm going to say good night too. So
Okay,
thank you all, and I'll see you
Good
again.
night, Melanie.
Love to Kent too.
Bye-bye. Yes, thank you. I'll tell her.
Okay.
See you, Peter.
Her birthday, by the way, is next Saturday.
It's Melanie's birthday tomorrow.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
I thought it was the 16th.
No, it's not. It's later. But Kent's is the 21st. Mine's the 24th.
Uh-huh.
24th. Okay, sorry.
Jai Baba all. Good
Early.
night.
Bye.
Take care.
Okay,
Bye.
good night,
Thank
Jai
you,
Baba.
everybody.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Whoops. Bye, everybody.